horse walker, as seen here, is an important tool for Myerscough College and is used on a regular basis in ensuring each horse gets its exercise requirements daily. An horse will be placed into their own compartment within the walker. Then the walker is turned on till the next compartment is in line with the door so the second horse may be placed on. This particular model can fit up to 5 horses in it at one individual time. Once all horses are placed on the walker will be switched on and the partitions behind will nudge the horse to encourage it to move forward. On this particular model, the user may turn on an electric shock that will travel down each one of the partitions and shock the horse each time it comes into contact with the partition. This encourages the horse to begin moving. Once in a forward motion, the horse walker may have its speed adjusted to make it a suitable pace for that particular horse or group of horses. This process will usually continue for approximately 40 minutes. Once this time is up, the horse walk will be set to rotate the opposite way.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge
Tony.
The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge
Tony. All rise.
Today's meeting of the great minds is to decide whether the horse walker is a benefit or abomination. I believe we have 2 representatives from either side of the argument. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honour.
And which side are you, young man?
I'm in support of the horse walker, Your Honour.
And I guess you disapprove of the horse walker. Is that correct?
I do, Your Honour.
Now, Mr. Gordon, please begin our proceedings by telling me the main advantages.
Yes, Your Honour, the horse walker has many benefits that we're going to discuss here today, but one of its many benefits are that in the busy world that we live in and the fast-paced society that we have, the horse walker enables its owners to make sure their horse gets its daily exercise. It also allows the owner to save time by placing their horse in the horse walker to do other husbandry procedures such as cleaning their enclosure.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon, for your statement. Miss McMahon.
Neil has not considered the concept of pain in horses and the possibility of owners' subjective analysis of pain indicators which can lead to further injury, especially if they are on busy schedules. According to Lay Simple AL, vertebral disorders are difficult to detect and are often detected at an advanced stage, so it's too late most of the time, and affect, according to Fusika AL, 70% of the ridden horse population. Furthermore, in another study by Giese AL 2009, 19% of horses tested in the walker showed signs of stress and avoidance behaviours and also panic, 29% showing signs of deep lesions.
Mr. Gordon, can you use the horse walker in any weather conditions?
Yes, Your Honour, one of the many benefits of the horse walker is it can be used to exercise horses in almost any weather conditions. For example, in adverse weather conditions such as snow, it is not always possible to take your horse out to walk. This can lead to the horse being left in the stables for days on end. However, owners who use the horse walker can often exercise their horses in any weather conditions, and this can prevent them from suffering from boredom or lack of exercise.
Are there any physical disadvantages to using the walker?
Yes, horseman judge, sir. Horses who are used in circular horse walkers are more prone to develop musculoskeletal problems, and this can happen more frequently in large stables or equine centres where there are a lot of horses being used and they cannot be monitored individually all the time when they're in the walker. So this can affect animals with pre-existing injuries and can further damage their joints.
Go ahead.
The horse walkers can be used for building up muscle and during rehabilitation. It allows the owners to monitor the horse's movement and check for abnormalities that could be an indication of possible injury. The horse walker is also shown to be an important tool when you're using race horses, as it allows them to warm up and cool down before and after races, therefore helping to reduce their chances of injury.
Does the walker have any physiological effects on the animal?
Objection!
But she hasn't said anything yet, Mr. Gordon.
I know, but she's full of
Mr. Gordon, I shall hold you in contempt of court if you object in such a manner again. Please proceed.
Regular use of the horse walker can take away from quality time spent, so it affects the development and the maintenance of the horse and the owner bond, which occurs a lot with manual horse riding and training. So essentially it can damage the horse owner bond and lead to difficulties in training for horse racing and the racing industry.
Mr. Gordon, the horse walker is used on racehorses. What benefits does this have on them?
Yes, Your Honour, when the racehorses are introduced to the horse walk from a young age, it has shown to decrease the chances of them being euthanised due to injury during racing.
Thank you both for your inputs today. I now request that you prepare your final statements. Miss McMahon, please proceed.
Yes, sir, of course. Can I also just add that your mane is looking only beautiful today. And I got you a delicious golden apple straight from my garden, self-grown.
Thank you very much. Miss McMahon.
The realistic possibility of injury due to unsynchronized movements with the horse walkers in use should be highly considered. We presently have physiological indicators such as heart rate, respiratory rate, rectal temperature, and sometimes cortisol. Assessments are used as indicators. Heart and respiratory rates have been found to have poor reliability in terms of pain severity. Errors in pain assessment, pre and post walker activities can obscure horse welfare, along with injury due to walking on wet and unmanaged flooring in the walker. And also lack of access to open fields, areas with natural environmental grounds and stimulants can also affect welfare negatively. The opposite side claims that it is a vital saving tool, whereas in reality, time saved can negatively impact time gained of a healthy horse with pre-existing injury. In support of what I have been discussing here today, I have evidence directly from the mouth of the renowned scientist, Dr. Lichtenstein.
We'll now join Dr. Lichtenstein via live video link to give her statement. Are you there, Dr. Lichtenstein? Dr. Lichtenstein, are you there?
Oh, hello.
Hello there. Would you like to give your statement, please?
Of course, sir. Yes, sir. I can confirm that the named journals support the claims made by the prosecutor. In the journal by Fonseca, AL 2006, visible signs of back disorders, mostly vertebral disorders, affected 70% of the assessed ridden horse population of the UK. And in another study as well that was mentioned, Giese AL 2009, stress influence of the horse walker are examined by way of analysing cortisol levels and heart rate in a sample size of 1,409. Questionnaires based on the electric horse walker were given out, and the information that was received back showed that 19% of the horses conveyed signs of panic, with 32 horses, which is 2.3% overall, obtaining injury. And 50% of these injuries was due to bucking and kicking while the horse walker was running. So 53% of these injuries was led to wounds, which were superficial, and 29% of these were deep lesions.
Thank you, Dr. Lichtenstein. Thank you, Miss McMahon. Mr. Gordon, proceed to your final statement.
Thank you, Your Honour. I would like to suggest that Your Honour takes into account the positives that have been mentioned here today involving the horse walker when coming to his final decision. I know the horse walker helps to ensure that the horse is given the correct amount of exercise daily, even in the most adverse weather conditions. Also, the horse walker can be used in different paces, which benefits horses of different ages, sizes and temperaments. It's also a vital tool for people who own multiple horses, as they're able to place more than one horse in the walker at one time. There's also some horse walkers available that have water in them, and the horse will walk around in water, and this is good for their rehabilitation. as well as an important tool for keeping them exercised. Finally, I'd like to show you on a video from the yard manager at Myerscough College, where she will explain some of the many benefits the horse walker has on its horses that are used in it, and how it helps with the daily tasks and the running of the livery yard.
Right, we're here today to interview Kirsten Owen, who's the yard manager of the equine department. Hello, Kirsten.
Hi.
Hiya. And what are the main advantages of the walker to the animal and the equine department?
Gets the horses out, exercised on a regular basis if they've not been in lessons. So, for health reasons, it keeps them mobile, it keeps them moving.
Right. And what is the most important advantage, do you feel, that the walker provides?
With the amount of horses that we've got on site, when students don't turn up for lessons or we've got minimal staff on over the holidays, it's absolutely essential to allow us to get horses exercised sufficiently to keep them healthy.
Right. And what are the disadvantages of the walker to the equine department and the animal as well?
Disadvantages would be that it's very mundane and it's a circle. So you get some horses that have joint problems that wouldn't be the best thing for them to consistently walk around on a circle.
Yeah.
Or if they've got poor conformation. So circles are not always great for every individual.
There is that design of the oval, isn't it?
That's correct,
Yeah.
yeah. So they have a straight line and then they've got a little half circle at one end and a straight line.
Do you feel the positives outweigh the negatives for this
Yes,
thing?
for us in this department, yes.
Do you feel the walker provides good welfare?
Yes.
Some of the models can give electric shock. Which situation would it be used?
We would use the shock system to prompt the horses if they were actually slowing the machine down.
Would the department actually struggle to function properly if that machine wasn't working?
Yeah, for the welfare of the horses.
For the
Yeah.
welfare of the horses. Okay. And what overall score out of 10 would you give the walker?
I would give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Yeah.
And what do you think the horse would give it?
Probably 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Okay. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Today the court has heard both arguments, and regardless of Miss McMahon's feeble attempt at bribery with an apple and Mr Gordon's potty-mouth objections, I would like to say that the horse walker seems to be a useful tool in any livery yard or race industry. And like any other machinery, if not used correctly, would cause injury and stress. I do regard Miss Owen's use of the electric shock on the walker unnecessary, and the food lurd should be used instead. The court recognises that the human-animal bond could be weakened through the lack of contact, but this could be compensated before and after use. In light of all the evidence that is brought forward, I do feel that Mr Gordon's has a very valid point, and therefore I rule in favour of the walker. Well done, Mr Gordon. Case dismissed. This particular model is based on the one you saw earlier, but in this section of the video we shall discuss the possible improvements that we think would increase welfare standards. We think that the whole of the partition should be able to glide over the horse while it stands if it was to choose to stop. We think the owner should be used in training rather than not allowing it to choose. We also thought that the walker should have a timer on it that can only be run for an hour at a time before it has to be reset again. This would reduce the chance of the horse being left unattended for too long. The oval-shaped design should be a standardised model which would minimise the joint problems. Additionally, music enrichment could be included in the design. An anti-sleep button could be installed which commits the operator to press every 15 minutes or the machine cuts off. This would force the operator to monitor the progress and condition of the horse more closely and improve welfare.
sorry, Judge. Are you okay?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm just going to throw it again. Where'd it go?
We can just do this all day.
Where'd it
Bring it to
go?
me. 3, 2, 1. Okay, carry on.
Thank you, Horseman Judge. The type of substrate used poses a major issue. Rubber flooring is
We'll just use that.
Yes, Ronnie, the Horsewalker has many benefits to it that we are going to discuss. Objection.
Denied.
Objection.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, Your Honour, the Horsewalker has many benefits to it.
You're going to do this, Zoe.
pre-existing injury. Dun, dun, dun.
Smashed it.
Was that